Hey everyone, and welcome back to this channel. Well, I wanted to make a video that is a little bit different because I would actually like to show you guys my two gecko holdbacks from last year. But anyways, after more than a decade of actually caring, keeping reptiles, I took the decision that I wanted to breed some of my lizards, not every single one of them. And after deciding what I wanted to work with, I decided that I wanted to at least start with geckos. I decided that I wanted to start with geckos and actually color lizards, but in this video I'm going to focus on the geckos. My passion has always been, what's more rare or uncommon, what you don't really see. Some of the species that I have, there's a lot of people that have never even seen them or even heard of them before. So one type of gecko that I really wanted to work with was a leaftail gecko. Now that is not specific, because there are many species of leaftail geckos and from different countries. So I look into the different species of leaftail geckos, and I learned that it was a little bit more easy to work with Australian leaftail geckos. Okay, now to be more specific, I ended up going with Riverine leaftail geckos. So this is Phylloris nicola. This guy is small enough that you can barely see it, but don't worry, I will get a close-up. Now let me show you this beautiful guy. Man, this is such a cool lizard, and to be honest, from the geckos that I have, this is probably the most uncommon one that I have. There are only a couple of breeders that I know of that are really focused on these guys, and in my opinion there should be a lot more. So as I said, this is an Australian species, and these guys are actually native from a very specific mountain called Mount Elliot, which I think that is really cool. And that is actually why I named my male, this guy's father, Elliot, and the female, Olivia. Now this guy will not continue to have a lion order name, because to be honest, from that show, those are the only two characters that I like. And I actually thought about naming this guy Shadow, but to be honest, now I don't know, because his pattern really started to change recently, and that is actually one of the reasons as to why I really wanted to show this guy. So these guys, when they actually hatch, they hatch almost completely black, which I think that is really cool. So as soon as I saw that, I thought for sure this guy will be named Shadow. But as you can see, he's actually starting to get a lot of really like white dots, and it's actually more like grayish than actually black. So I think that his pattern looks really amazing. And if you can actually, if you can actually see the tail has like some like really light brown dots. I don't know if you, to be honest, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that is really amazing. So to be honest, now I don't know what will be his name, and I'm gonna say him because for the looks of it, this guy is gonna be a male. So this guy actually hatched 7 months ago, so he is old enough for me to actually tell if it's a male or a female. And from what I can see, this guy is definitely a male. So now I don't know if Shadow is actually a proper name for him, because he is no longer that dark. So if you guys have any suggestions, then definitely put them in the comments. Alright, I'm gonna have to keep my eye more on this guy than on the camera. So I don't know if so sorry if that looks a little bit weird, but this guy is fast when he decides to run. So I am going to focus more on him. I do not want him to fall from this table. Okay, but the one species of gecko that I always knew that I wanted to work with was probably the most common one. That is leopard geckos. Leopard geckos were actually my very first gecko, actually lizard. And ever since I kept mine, even though I did a terrible job with my first 3, I always knew that these guys were very special. For such a small lizard, these guys are very handleable, and even though this guy is not so much at the moment, that is, to be honest, I don't really like to bother him. But alright, as I was saying, leopard geckos was definitely a species that I wanted to work with. Now the problem with that is that because they are, in my opinion, they are the most common gecko species. You know, there's countless of breeders. There's a ton of morphs. I don't even know how many, and every once in a while you hear of a new one still. Okay, so because of all of that, you know, I really didn't want to just get any pair of leopard geckos. I still wanted to work with something uncommon, even though it was a super common species. And I've always had my preference in morphs, and that has always been black knights. But you know, they are probably the most expensive leopard gecko that you can get, and I was not going to spend, you know, $8,000 on 2 lizards. So this is why I actually decided to go with my second favorite morph, which has been pied galaxies. For the easiest way to know them as these guys is actually super snow eclipse. Okay, and in my opinion, you know, pied in any morph always makes them look a lot better. Now this guy is closing his eyes because he's not a fan of that light. So once I knew what leopard gecko I wanted to work with, or you know, what morph, I started looking for my pair, and getting a female was actually very easy. Now the thing is that I needed to make sure that it was a female, so I actually had her for a couple of months, for a few months, if I remember correctly, and after that I decided to get my male. Now I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get something that had like 5 genes in them, because you know, once you start doing that, the offspring might not look exactly like the parents. And to be honest, what I wanted was for that to happen, for the babies to come up exactly like the parents or even better looking. And in my opinion, these guys did come out better looking, and that is actually for one reason: that pied. My adults have a full pattern, which is a very typical pattern of that super snow eclipse, or galaxy for short. But these guys actually have no pattern on the neck, and this specific guy actually has a broken pattern in the head. I'm trying to keep them steady so that you guys can see the pattern on the head. Well, there you go, you can see it a little bit right there. So that is actually a broken pattern on the head, which I think looks really amazing. You guys can see that he has no pattern on the neck. And this guy actually, when he hatched, he was the only one that looked very different from the other ones. The other ones look exactly like this, just the skin was more pink than white. But this guy actually was grayish, which I didn't know if that was a good thing or not, but it turned out that it was a good thing. So all the babies actually hatched looking almost exactly the same as this guy, but this was the only one with a broken pattern on the head. Which in simple terms, it just means that that pied is more noticeable. So what I am hoping is that maybe here in 2 years, I don't know, I'm gonna have extreme pieds, which that simply means that all of this pattern on the back and the tail, it will be broken just like the pattern on the head. And to be honest, I am very happy with the babies that I have gotten so far from both of my pairs of geckos. And I am definitely hoping I am definitely hoping to work with one more species of a different species of gecko. And there is one more species of gecko that I really want to work with, but man, that female is expensive. But to be honest, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do it? This is a frog-eyed gecko, and I am not going to pronounce that scientific name because it is way too long. But alright, before I go, I actually forgot to say this guy's name. So I decided to name him Puffin, and that is due to the Atlantic puffin, which I think that is a bird that looks really cool. Well, alright guys, thank you, and I will see you next time.